Happy Saturday, y'all. Welcome to Recap with Mac for the week of July 25th. Mac, do you want to bring us up to speed about all the lovely advocacy things that have happened this week?
Well, as everyone knows, we're confronting the issues related to the announcement by the DEA that they are going to schedule 7-OH at a certain threshold, and they're going to schedule separately the chemically synthesized products that are metrogynine sulfondoxil and the MGM 15 and 16 products. The controversy around these two separate scheduling recommendations involves the whether or not there should have been appropriate language put into the rule with respect to 7-OH in the same threshold for metrogynine sulfondoxil, meaning that they both naturally occur. So you will find using the right equipment, highly sensitive equipment, you will find sulfondoxil in all products that are manufactured in the United States from raw leaf powder. The same thing happens with sulfondoxil as occurs with 7-OH, but you have to have highly sophisticated equipment. And the issue that was raised by some of the anti-kratom pro 7-OH people was that, oh, well, if you're going to ban 7-OH, you're also going to ban sulfondoxil. The DEA's position on these kinds of matters has been in the past that they don't look for the kind of sophisticated equipment that we're talking about. What they look for is whether the product has been chemically synthesized, in this case, where you have an original plant material product, which is fine in its natural form, but when you alter it. And so that's what they were focused on. And there's been a lot of discussion back and forth about whether, in order to assure that there won't be a post-scheduling attack on the natural leaf product, there's discussions internally at the DEA about how they can fix this if they need to. So we'll see how that plays out. I think it's worthy of at least them evaluating it, making an appropriate accommodation for it, or at least a statement about it, because it all comes down to enforcement. And we know that that one of the biggest problems that we have with these rules is that under the Controlled Substances Act, and something we don't particularly like, is that when a substance is scheduled, the possession of that material is a felony for anyone that is caught and adjudicated. And we know that there have been and will be in the future, if this law, this rule is implemented, that some aggressive law enforcement person is going to say, "Oh, I found this person with some amount of a 7-OH product, and then we're going to prosecute them as a felony." We are working on legislation that will fix that. So this is important for everyone to know. There are two entities that can schedule products. The U.S. Congress is one of them, and the DEA has been authorized by statute to actually do the scheduling recommendations that will be published in the Federal Register. But, and this is an important thing for that process, it comes from the DEA. The FDA. The DEA always relies upon the research that's conducted by the FDA as a part of the recommendation. So, for example, if you or I were to recommend the scheduling of some product, we can, by the way. The Kratom Danger Awareness people tout the fact that they have submitted an application to ban kratom, right? The DEA does not independently review that. They send it over to the FDA and they look for the development of the evidence and data to support the 8-factor analysis that is required for scheduling. If there's a determination that it is an imminent threat to the safety of the American people, they then allow for temporary scheduling. So that process is set in stone by statute. And then you have the US Congress that can also do the same thing. They can independently schedule, but they also have the ability to make adjustments to scheduling. And so we will, in our Federal Kratom Consumer Protection Act, have a provision that takes away the possession on natural kratom leaf products or 7-OH products, so that they are not felons in that context.
So I have a question about that. So if it's going to be, so how would that provision supersede a federal? You know, because so 7-OH and all that going federally scheduled would make consumers be a felon if caught.
Right.
But how does what you're doing override that part?
So the Congress has that authority. They can actually remove a product from scheduling if it's done by the DEA, or they can modify it. So that's the authority Congress has. They gave the power through the Controlled Substances Act to the DEA to schedule, but they can modify whatever scheduling that they take from a legislative standpoint. It's a good check and balance. I think that it would probably be a good idea for the Congress to reevaluate the Controlled Substances Act to look at this particular issue. It hasn't become much of an issue until recently, and in the context of what we're seeing today. Most of the time, the substances that are scheduled are things that are sold on a street corner.
Yeah.
And they're just bad substances. And this is a different situation where you have commercially available products that are being sold openly in convenience stores, gas stations, and 7-OH is by even their own admission a chemically manipulated substance that is not the natural substance. And in its product form, there are two signatures that are critically important. First is that you don't see any marketing for a 7-OH product to say, oh, if you take this, you'll have increased focus. You'll have a boost of energy. You see this is a therapeutic use. It's going to relieve your pain. It's going to do. And then they list all of the therapeutic categories that are appealing to people that truly are struggling with acute and chronic pain. And those are illegal marketing tactics being used by the 7-OH people, separate from the fact it should be scheduled, by the way. Under the current laws, the FDA has the authority, as do many state attorney generals, to go after these manufacturers and marketers because they're using these illegal therapeutic claims. So it's one of these things that in Washington, D.C., all the policy wonks love this kind of thing because it attracts a lot of attention. It gets you get into the weeds of this kind of thing. The problem with that, what's happening in Washington, is it impacts real people, right?
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where we want to be as supportive as we can from the standpoint of the American Kratom Association to support people that really are the innocent parties.
Yeah.
These are products that are being sold to them that they got hooked on because of the marketing tactics and product formulation tactics of a group of manufacturers who only care about the money. Otherwise, they could have gone through the processes that are available to them under the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act to seek market entry with good science. Now, the tripping factor in all of that is that they would have been exposed for what this is a synthetic product that is a drug. And that would require them then to go to through the new drug application process, which, it's changing, but it used to be that you were 3 to 7 years, sometimes longer, in the new drug approval process. Usually costs you somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.5 to $8 billion, depending on the therapeutic index. And the output of that is that in return for that investment, the drug company, gets a market exclusivity period that's relatively short, which accounts for why drug prices sometimes are very high. So this is the conundrum that the 7-OH people faced. They were chemically manipulating a product, put it on the market that has powerful signature effects of opioids, and they wanted to just call it kratom, and they did call it kratom.
Yeah, they did.
Yep.
So it is an unbelievable abuse of the statutory process, and more importantly, the abuse of consumers, because they knew what they were doing. They get you hooked quickly. You have to come back to it, and that's your customer base. And it's astounding that you hear people today defending the 7-H community, saying we don't want prohibition, right?
Mhm.
Well, okay. What about the responsibility of the manufacturers not to put these products on the marketplace and get you hooked and then enslave you in that process?
Yep.
That's where the responsibility lies. And what happens if 7-H is removed from the marketplace, which it will be? What happens? Well, you have to find another product. Some people hooked on 7-H are going to have to go through some sort of a detox procedure.
Mhm.
Fortunate, it's the output. But now, where do you go to manage whatever caused you to get on 7-H in the first place? You're going to have to come back to natural kratom, or you're going to have to find other products that are legally on the marketplace in order to address those issues.
The 7-H, I will forever call them drug dealers. The 7-H drug dealers created the demand so that they can supply it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And
It
I
wasn't.
mean,
It
the
wasn't so.
longer it's out, the longer it's on the shelves, the more people it's going to impact.
Yeah, it wasn't that. It wasn't that typical supply and demand. No, they created the
Yeah.
demand so that they can supply it, so that they can get filthy freaking rich.
Yep. And the thing is, they screwed up with marketing as a kratom product, because there is nothing like a kratom advocate, and you are not about to step on our turf. Just saying.
Exactly. Well, some of us.
Some of it. Real
Other
kratom.
ones sell out.
Real kratom.
Yeah, real kratom advocates.
And I think that the impacts in the kratom marketplace today have created the current environment where the confusion is so rampant. In the last 2 weeks, I have done I think around 80 interviews with news reporters where they simply confuse it the same way that 7-H want it to be confused. It's they're the same things. I was on with a San Francisco reporter last night, and he was saying about I think it's Alameda County that's going to look at a ban, and we walked through it. And at the end, after we'd gone off, he thanked me. He said, "I just had no idea about the difference here." And unfortunately, neither do the elected officials who are looking at that ban, and they're making it a ban for everything because they conflate everything into kratom when it's really 7-H that's the problems.
Listen, I watched a little video promo from this guy who's running for attorney general in Oklahoma. He's sitting there, because there was this young kid that recently, passed away supposedly from from taking one 7-H pill. I don't know the case, so I can't speak on it, but he's sitting there going in. He's doing like a Mike McKell promo. He's going in, buying the 7-H tab, but he's calling it kratom.
Yep.
Right.
And he's running for attorney general for Oklahoma.
It's infuriating because at the end of the day, it is that small group of, as you said, Misty, the people that are getting very rich on the production and marketing of a product that is not only illegal, it's dangerous. And it's stunning to me, the people that wrap themselves in this cloak of saying, "Oh, we just don't want prohibition. Prohibition does not work," as if that is the reason why we should allow a very dangerous substance on the marketplace that is enslaving people with addiction and killing people. It's okay. It's okay. And their defense is twofold. One is, prohibition doesn't work. Well, actually, it does in some instances, but it doesn't work generally in terms of human populations that have this craving, however they get sucked into it, to have an addictive product. But then you have this other issue about people that think that it's okay to have a dangerous product on the market because, we should allow, it's live and let live, we should allow for people to make have these products available and make their choices. Well, no, we do not. We don't allow people to make the choice of having someone sell them fentanyl. We
Mm.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and
Well,
that
illicit
has,
fentanyl.
yeah, illicit fentanyl, of
Yeah.
course, but in a street corner, and we don't sell fentanyl in a convenience store, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just not the way it works. But it's because it is a very, very potent product, and if not formulated and used in the correct manner, it is deadly. That's a fact. And we'll you know, I'm just disappointed that so many of the so-called advocates who pretend to be, you know, we're for Kratom, and I'm talking about the 708 gals. I mean, it was astounding to me that you know, and of course, every show they come on and make their defense, and now it's, you know, Mac Haddo said this about us, and I'm sure that there's going to be more said. And well, yes, because you are accountable for the statements you make, and to the extent that you are an influencer in the Kratom community, you at least have an obligation to have two sides of the story, or at least, well, I would think, modify your own position. But now they were on, most of them were on the great rally that was held by the 708 people. I think it was on Wednesday, and watching how they become, you know, their explanations. They have been from almost day one apologists for the 708 industry. They have become advocates for it. And they say, oh, we don't use it. Well, then why are you promoting it? We think people should have the chance or the right to do. No, you don't have the right to do this kind of thing when you're being duped, misled, and you know, it's like the Pied Piper. You're just marching down because of them, in large respects, for misleading people. So, you know, that's another element in this battle that we're in that we shouldn't have to be fighting, but we are. And you know, I find it terribly disappointing that they want to act like they're responsible advocates when they're not, and that's just the bottom line.
I still don't understand it. It's like you know,
It goes back to the whole actions speak louder than words. Like, I
yeah.
really live by that because a lot of people say a lot of things, but you got to pay attention to what people do.
How in the heck do you advocate for what's saving you? How do you advocate for? No, I said that wrong. How do you advocate for what's tainted and taking down what is saving you?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you want to go with that whole live and let live, or my body, my choice. We don't advocate for prohibition, you know.
Yeah. And again, I would have no issues with it if they would have left Kratom out of it. You know,
right.
I would not be advocating against it, I guess is what you call it. I don't care if you want to say I'm advocating against it, so be it. I hate 708. It is the reason why we're in the situation we're in a lot of states. It's why there's so much misinformation. All of the advocacy that's been done over the years is just flushed down the toilet because
Dude,
of the 708.
you know what? I was watching there's an amazing Pompeii documentary on Hulu right now. And I was watching it last night, and it got me thinking that, okay, Kratom is Pompeii. Mount Vesuvius bursted onto the scene and suffocated all of the advocacy, all of the science, all of the dedication that's been put on for the past 10 years. It came rolling down in that pyroplastic thing, you know, and suffocated it all.
Yeah.
And we're over here, we got our nose above the ash. We're trying to breathe here. You know?
Yeah, you know, Chad, he said Kratom would still be legal in Kansas.
Yes.
It might even still be legal. I doubt it in Tennessee, but it didn't help our case in Tennessee with 708 being all over the place and people being, you know, the way they are. People spending hundreds of dollars a day on it, you know? I mean, you give something a bad name and people, that's all they hear about it. That's all legislators hear about it is, you know, Kratom's bad on the media. Everywhere you look, Kratom's bad because of 708.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you would have had maybe somebody say, hey, I know so-and-so. They're my cousin. They've been taking Holy Kratom for years. It's fine. None of that because of 708. All of it is because of 708. And you cannot tell me otherwise because I've seen it with my own two eyes.
Yes.
So I think that just closing the door on this issue about advocates like the Kratom gals or /708 gals, they're hypocrites. That's all they are.
Yeah.
And the hypocrisy that they're peddling is really unfortunate, because in the same way that 7-OH products misled consumers by saying we're kratom, they're misleading advocates because they say we are kratom. They are not. They are, without question, they are the 7-OH Pied Pipers, and shame on them. Shame on them for what they've done. Now, on the issue of how confusing this has gotten because of 7-OH, that's solely on the backs of the manufacturers. And you know, they do a lot of slick manufacturing and marketing and explanations about it. I listened to Mr. Beckham, who is with Outpost Brands, one of the co-founders of that, testify down in South Carolina. And if you closed your eyes and listened to the music he was spewing about, oh, everything's fine. It's 7-OH is already controlled in your state, and you don't have to worry about it. And it was all spinning a story that had nothing to do with reality. It was all about them wanting to market a product that was making them a ton of money, and they wanted no parts of it. And he made the comment, I don't know if it was in that testimony, but he made a comment somewhere where he said, we're winning. The part of their saying, hey, we're beating back these bans. And he was touting the fact that in Florida on July 1st, they were going to be back in business in Florida. And I'm sitting there thinking, how can they be saying that? How can they be saying that to a group of public elected officials when you'd have to be deaf, dumb, and blind not to know that come July 1st, the Attorney General of Florida was going to use his authority, which he has, to simply issue a new rule. And this time it was even tighter on them. But they played the game, and that's the underpinning of the entire game. They misled consumers. They now are misleading legislators across the board, and unfortunately, they've sucked in some of the kratom advocates into their tale of woe, because we're just trying to help, and this is now they actually bastardize what happened in the prohibition movement, because we knew that prohibition, in the way that the if you look at the history of it, you see that they highlight some of the failures of the kinds of products that were being banned. And we're talking about alcohol. Okay, alcohol, it has side effects, health effects that are not great, but it doesn't have the kind of record of addicting you so quickly, having the profound effects on your body. That
Well, and they're not selling alcohol saying it's Coca-Cola. That they didn't come into the market saying, "Hey, buy this Coca-Cola. It's great." And then it's like, "Oh my goodness, it's alcohol in it." That's how I say about that.
And I think that as I said, it's very unfortunate that they being these manufacturers are now fighting to remain on the market, having duped so many people. And I think there are people that I've observed that are making these arguments that are doing so on a good faith basis. They're not as complete a hypocrite as some of the others are. They believe this, and I get that. But they're also not looking at the contextual battle that we have here about how this product entered the market. It is not like it's not like this is normalized. We have known from day one, when the 7-OH products were introduced into the market, about the threat they pose to people. We knew it before they became products. We understood back in 2018, when we were preparing for the 2019 legislative sessions, that our language in the provisions, specific provisions in our Kratom Consumer Protection Act, had to provide for a limit on 7-OH in products that were sold to the public. So you saw in our model KCPA bills that you could only have no greater than 2% of the overall fraction of the plant material, the total alkaloids, being 7-OH, because we knew that that was the naturally occurring level, the maximum that you would get, and anything above that was chemically manipulated. We knew that, and that's before 7-OH came on the market. And here we have a situation where in 2021, we now know that 7-OH was test marketed, started to flow into the marketplace, big market splash in 2023. And throughout that process, no compliance with federal law in terms of the safety of the products you have to document under conditions of use required by federal law. None of that. And you have the bizarre statement by Vince Sanders in an interview where he says, we don't have any science. We just are using the experience of our consumers as our safety data, translated to human guinea pigs, translating to people in the most imprecise surveillance system known to man, to simply put out a product on the market and let people use it, and then figure out how many bodies are coming through. And unfortunately, in this case, when they did it, they called themselves Kratom, which confounds the entire discussion that we're now seeing the results of. So when people say we lost Tennessee, Kentucky, and Kansas because of 7-OH, true. What we don't factor in is that we have many of the local jurisdictions that we're losing because of 7-OH. And you're looking at our battle for advocating in the states that we're working on right now. We're losing that battle because, well, up until the scheduling, we were losing that battle. Now the landscape is a little different. The playing field shows us that we're going to have to simply explain why Kratom is not that banned substance, as opposed to why Kratom is not the 7-OH, which obviously in the marketplace had some problems, but still legal, right? Now it's not going to be legal as long as the DEA follows through and does their scheduling, hopefully on August the 5th. So there might be a delay in that on the 7-OH side while they tinker with modifications they might need to make in order to accommodate the pseudodoxil issue. I don't think, but we'll see. But it's going to happen one way or the other.
As far as the pseudodoxil goes, sorry, my dog was left outside.
Oh.
Yeah. My kid's father's here visiting, and I have a black Shar-Pei, and I know that black attracts heat, and it's like 100, probably like 100 degrees out here right now. And I heard like my dog's frantic bark, like, oh man, he left her outside again. So anyway, about the pseudodoxil. So we had Dr. Aaron on yesterday. If you guys haven't watched that episode, we had John Shinholzer and Dr. Aaron Berthold on. So go check that out. She says that pseudodoxil is not in the leaf at all. Not in the leaf.
Well, that's the same thing with 7-OH. Pseudodoxil is not in the leaf. It's part of the degradation process that starts after the leaf is harvested. And 7-OH is not in the plant. It starts to be created by the heat applied to it, and you have a degradation of the material. And that's the same with pseudodoxil at lower levels than 7-OH, but still there. And so that's why I think it's fair to say that it's possible that you could detect pseudodoxil it's not possible. The Dr. McCurdy has identified in their testing that they find pseudodoxil in these products. So it's a question of what the levels are and what the effects are. Right. And
I can't imagine how much of a minuscule amount, like, because it's already so little 7-OH, like it has to be just such a tiny amount. This is like they're just reaching at this point, I feel.
Right. No question. And Dr. Bertha was absolutely right that this is a situation where, the 7-OH guys took what is a metabolite, same as 7-OH, and they same as pseudodoxil, and they simply created a new class of products. And then they found pseudodoxil, and they said, oh, we can create off of the 7-OH, which has a high level of pseudodoxil because they're chemically manipulating it, escalating it. And so now we can make pseudodoxil only products. And again, not a part of the natural plant. And so this is the mess that they've created. And any person that is on the side of the 7-OH people are taking steps to advocate for the downfall of the entire Kratom community if we don't put our foot down, which we have, and we don't fight back, which we are. And we're going to make sure that elected officials understand the difference and not get bamboozled by the kind of nonsense that's being put out right now. For example, You've got Michelle Ross, who even the last couple of days is putting out it's the same thing as natural kratom, and literally she's saying that the DEA had already made the decision that Sudendoxil was not schedulable because of what happened in 2016 and 2018. And I'm thinking, what? She's relying upon the levels of 7-OH that were present in the material that was tested, which is a naturally occurring degradation at levels that are minuscule, no greater than 0.05%. And now you take a product that is, I don't know, a couple 100%, and
Yeah.
they flip the entire content. It's now majority 7-OH, and she wants to call them the same thing. I mean, if she were a true scientist, that would be scientific malpractice to make that claim. Other than, that's her job, and she's going to do whatever she's going to do to promote 7-OH and twist the data, abuse it, torture it to come up with some conclusion, and to say that 7-OH was already reviewed by the DEA and the FDA. That's nonsense, not true, and it's deceptive. And it's the same kind of marketing 7-OH made when they first came on the marketplace originally. So there you have it.
Yeah, a lot of the 7-OHers like to parrot around that 2019 study. I believe it was Henningfield's. I don't remember which one, or I know which one, but yeah, they like to parade that around and be like, yeah, see, look, it's all same.
Yeah, Jack absolutely evaluated the presence of 7-OH in the material, but identified it properly as being a trace amount, which is why the criteria, the baseline is clearly that 7-OH does not occur naturally, even when degraded. And here's the other thing that's really interesting. Michelle Ross, pretending to be some authority on this measure, says that, it's okay because metrogene gets converted to 7-OH through the liver. That is true. That is true. But it doesn't get converted at levels that match the 7-OH products, and which they, of course, have bypassed by using sublingual and chewable tablets. But the process is so slow that it never achieves in blood plasma tests, when they've looked at this, the levels of a 7-OH product. But here's the thing that they completely and totally miss, and that is that when you ingest it and your body absorbs it, and then it starts to distribute a metrogene natural kratom product, the amount of 7-OH in the natural product, when it hits your mu-opioid receptors, metrogene actually competes with 7-OH at the mu-opioid receptor. Now, if you have a product where the majority of the product is 7-OH, and you have a very, very, very small amount of metrogene, because they flip the content of the products, the metrogene is assaulted and beat up and thrown overboard, and the mu-opioid receptor gets the full activation of 7-OH. How in the world can a legitimate scientist make any kind of claim the way that that's happening on the 7-OH?
Have you heard the one about how, they just don't want consumers to get in trouble for having kratom sitting around on the shelves for a couple years, and it, accumulating 7-OH into it because it's oxidative, and it's like, you very well know that it's not going to have 200 to 300% more 7-OH from the time you bought it until 3 or 4 years. Come on, that's realistically, that's just silly.
So flip the argument. If you have a 7-OH product that sits and it's degrading too, and sits on the shelf for 2 years, you're going to have a far more potent, more powerful 7-OH product. If you have the kratom product, it will have an escalation. Obviously, it's never, as Jen, you've just said, it's never going to get to the level of what they're selling.
No.
Look at the testing that's done. It just shows you what a sham this all is. Vince Sanders' product was tested 7.5 milligrams of 7-OH. It came out to 23.5 milligrams of 7-OH. So he's marketing it as 7.5, but it's really, and he said, oh, there are variances in batches. Variances when it's nearly 4 times what
Yeah,
you
that's a pretty
is
big step
that's
up.
that is, and it is irresponsible, and it shows they have no quality controls. But I don't think that they care about quality controls
They don't.
because they're moving on after this is done. They will find another product, they'll tweak it, they'll change the molecule, and the and the FDA are going to have to play a little bit of whack-a-mole, but it will undermine the scheduling, will take away the majority of the market that they have now captured, and I think it'll be more difficult for them no matter what product they try to put on the market, because they've sort of got targets on their backs. The DEA and the FDA know who these people are, and they're going to be watching and lying in wait. And so I think that the chance of them having a market entry, like they did with Kratom, where they deceived everybody with an established consumer base, is going to be much less this time. They will have their consumer base, and they can sell their tweaked up product, and they can sell to them and some portion of them, but their marketplace in the Kratom community will be gone when 708 is scheduled.
Now their newest product is Cat's Claw, and it's got MGM-15 in it. Where the heck does MGM-15 come from?
A lab.
Yeah.
That's
so
it.
It's nothing to do with Kratom at all.
It takes the chemical structure of 7-OH, and in the lab they manipulate it to escalate it, and then you have MGM-1516. That's it.
And Dr. Aaron Berthold said that MGM-15 is equivalent to fentanyl. 7-OH's binding affinity is equivalent to morphine, but MGM-15 is equivalent to fentanyl.
I think she's absolutely right.
So did you happen to check out Dishonest Dean's live stream from yesterday?
I did. I last night I decided to try to watch it, and it was an interesting discussion. There are a couple of things that jumped out at me about it. First off, even the DEA, former DEA employee, does not understand the process for scheduling at all. He kept saying the DEA was doing this. The DEA doesn't do what he was saying. Now, the headquarters doesn't do. They have a diversion control division that reviews all scheduling that is referred to them after the evaluation by the FDA. And the FDA, by the way, has a separate agreement with NIDA, where NIDA looks at the addiction liability of products, and then the FDA does more safety studies on their end. So when the DEA receives this scheduling recommendation, it has been developed for an 8-factor analysis. I don't think that the DEA guy would even understand that term. He seemed like a nice fellow, by the way, but he was not in the headquarters. He was not a person that would deal on a regular basis with these kinds of things. And then you had the former FDA employee that he just discussed the fact that they saw reports of Kratom, and the biggest focus that he had was that in Cincinnati they saw a arrival of Kratom products that violated the import alert. And of course, the import alert expert, Dean Francis, gets on and says, "Oh, it's all illegal. Every product in the United States." And the way that the FDA former employee tried to explain that away is, we have authority at the port, but once it's in the United States, we don't. That's not true. And the process here, while nuanced and complicated, here's what happens. When you import Kratom into the United States under the current import alert, what you have to do is submit to the FDA a notice that you're importing the material. You quantify what it is, and it's a food product coming in for the purpose of having it then manufactured into a finished product. That product is not intended for human consumption. They make a big deal that, they mislabel it. I'm not a fan of saying, posting on the thing, it's not for human consumption. It is a technical definition of what the material is. No one is going to take that material that arrives and just distribute it to consumers. They're not going to have consumers line up to the cargo container and start handing it in.
If it was 7OH, they would.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens, and it's just the way the process works, the importer then shows the FDA what they're bringing in. They declare it. The FDA has the opportunity to go and test it because they know it's going to be there. They know exactly when it's arriving. They've received notice from the importer. This is what happens. And then the FDA has the authority to detain the shipment, which sometimes they do for the purpose of testing. But here's the part that this FDA guy seemingly didn't understand, and certainly the expert in all things import alerts, Dean Francis, has no clue about, is that after detaining it, after the detention takes place, the FDA always releases it. Now think about it. They release it to whom? To the importer. They release it for what purpose? To allow for the sale of that material to a manufacturer for the purpose of manufacturing a Kratom product, which is, after it has gone through the processing under good GMP practices, a finished product, which is intended for human consumption. So, I mean, again, I think this fellow seemed very nice. He just was being asked the wrong questions, or it was out of his depth in terms of the specific responsibilities he had with the FDA. And I'll tell you an interesting story. Earlier in my career, I was asked. I was retained by a company in Virginia Beach that was importing gelatin into the United States. Gelatin is used for the production of capsules, right? The FDA had an inspector show up and they tested this material and found that it had E. coli in it, right? That's bad news. Mm-hmm. So they issued an import alert on the gelatin material from that company. They red alert that company. That company was the third largest gelatin manufacturer in the world, based in India, right? So I'm retained by this company to help them with this import alert. And because they were based in India, I became their official representative in the United States. So the company shut down their entire plant in India. It's based in Vadodara, India. I've been there several times and not my favorite place in the world. It's in a remote area because gelatin is made from animal bones.
Yeah.
You know, they're out in an area where there's a lot of livestock, and they shut down their entire plant for 6 months, and they cleaned everything, every surface area in the plant. They then submitted to the FDA their completed results, and they brought the FDA in for an inspection. And I had to be there for the inspection. And so they went through, they found 3 things that they wanted the company to, 2 things to change, 1 thing to improve on. At one point in the process, they had this gelatin, when it's made, comes out in little pellets. And so it goes down a conveyor belt, it drops down into another processing thing, and there's a gap about this wide. And they had someone stationed there to watch it. And if they saw an anomaly in the material, they would shut it down and they would fix it, whatever that was. The FDA did not like that gap. It was open air, right? And great. So they fixed that. They found a wastewater pipe that was 5 feet too short, that was outside of the plant perimeter, that was just dropping wastewater into a wastewater contaminant. They wanted an additional 5 feet. So they fixed that. Then there was another issue that had to do with an unsecured door that needed to have a security device on it. Not that anyone was coming in and out of that door. It's just the security arrangement. So all of that, 6 months, they had 2 years of batch material. So they took every batch and they had a sample of that batch that was in their library, and they went back and tested all of those batches for 2 years and could not replicate the E. coli, right? Major manufacturing facility. They had been through multiple FDA inspections before, and they could not replicate what the FDA found in the warehouse in Virginia Beach. So they said, okay, we're going to lift the import alert. And the way that works is that you do 5 shipments that are commercial grade shipments into the United States, and you have to have rigorous testing on all 5 of them, and the FDA can have their own testers for any one of those, and they usually do 2 or 3 of the 5, right? So I'm at the facility in Virginia Beach, and here comes the inspector from the FDA, and he's going to take this material and test it. And he walks in. The first thing he says is, "Oh, I remember this place." Okay, so he was the inspector that had tested the material that was found to have E. coli in the thing. So, and we're videoing this, by the way, and they knew it. I mean, we're doing it because we want to document every step of the way. And so he said, "I came with the right equipment this time." What?
Huh.
He said, "Oh yeah, the last time I came, I just didn't have the right stuff." He said, I had to improvise." That was the word he used, improvise. I said, "What does that mean?" So a gelatin bag, by the way, they're about 6 feet high, and they're about 6 feet in diameter, big, huge, very thick plastic bags, and they're sealed, right? That's how that comes in to the United States, very large containers. He said, "Well, I didn't have the right rod that lets me from the top of the package go down and pull material from the bottom of the package, the middle, and the top, because you have to have an homogeneous testing result, right?" He said, "I didn't have that." He said, "So I called my boss, and he told me, well, okay, see if you can find a scoop that you can," he said, "and get a glove that goes up to your shoulder so you reach down as far as you can." So he literally had climbed on top of these bags and had this wrapping, he kind of jerry-rigged around, improvised, I'm sorry. And so he found a way to protect any contamination from his hand up to his shoulder. And he said, "And then I went down to Walmart and I bought scoops." I said, "Really?" I said, "What Walmart?" And he said, "Well, it's just down the street here, about a half a mile." I said, "Can we go there and you show me?" He said, "Sure." So we go down there. They had 18 scoops sitting on a rack, not sanitized. They were just sitting on wire racks at the Walmart. And he claimed he had bought 3 of them. So we go back to the facility, and I bought all 18 of those things. So I secured them, and I said, "Let's test these," right? So no problem. And guess what came back when we tested it?
E. coli.
E. coli.
No way.
I keep
So-
thinking like a little kid is touching those little scoops and didn't wash their hands or something.
No telling.
I mean, it was incredible. And this guy was taking a scoop that was contaminated with E. coli, pulling out material, putting it into his testing bag, sending it to the lab, and it came back with E. coli. 6 months of a plant being shut down, millions and millions of dollars in lost revenue, millions of dollars to do the testing and all the sanitation of the plant, and it was all because this guy had improvised with a scoop.
Man.
This is the FDA. Now, it turns out he was a contract inspector from the Virginia Department of Agriculture, and the FDA just contracted with him to do it. Obviously, it was wrong. The
Yeah.
FDA refused to issue an apology, or you couldn't sue him because it was a mistake, whatever it was. So I was
It was
called.
human error.
Yeah.
And I it was bizarre, but this is what the FDA had done. And the chairman of the company asked me to come and meet him. Now, that company was a very large international company. They did a number of things, including some oil stuff. And he was in Nigeria at the time. And he asked me to come and meet him. And so I go to meet him in Nigeria, and I walk into this conference room, and he's sitting in this very large conference room at the end of the table, and he invites me to sit down. And he said, "I understand that you have a personal relationship with the Commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration." I said, "That's true." He said, "Would you be able to get a meeting with him and deliver a letter that I would like you to deliver to him?" And I said, "Yes, I think I could do that." And I was confident I could at the time. And he said, "Well, here's the letter." And he pushed it across the table to me, and I noticed it was not sealed. He said, "I want you to read it because I want you to know what the message is, because when you hand it to him, there might be a reaction." And I thought, well, that was interesting. So I opened the letter, and the letter said, literally, and it was on very elegant stationery, and it was properly addressed to the commissioner. And then it said, "F you, I will never do business in the United States of America ever again."
Dang.
Can't blame him.
I can't either.
So I delivered that letter to the commissioner. We sealed it and I took it to him. And as funny as it was, look behind it and you see how the impact of a very, very bad decision by the FDA or process, and then not to apologize, not to provide any kind of compensation, not to do any, wouldn't even put out a public statement that they had messed up, because that's the government, right? That's the FDA.
Yeah.
So you look at, I mean, that's just life in this regulated environment that we face here. And think about all of the decisions that were made by people like Scott Gottlieb and Doug Throckmorton, who was the lead guy. And what I thought was fascinating was that the FDA guy was saying, "Oh, we kept pushing up to headquarters and they wouldn't let us go after these products."
Yeah, he said something about they told him to stand down.
I don't now. Is it possible that someone sitting in some office in some level of the FDA gets a request from a field guy, says, "I'd like to go after this kratom," and maybe they made a bad field decision and said no? But I'll tell you that if that request had gotten to Doug Throckmorton, who was in the commissioner's office, who was so anti-kratom, it was unbelievable. He would have jumped all over that.
Yeah.
And in that environment, to suggest that he was being told not to go after these products is really surprising. Now, I'll have to go back and I don't know if I have time to go back and listen to it, but he may have been talking about the early 20s, 2021, 2022. And then that might have been the right reaction, because at that time, the FDA was kind of waking up to the fact that maybe they had gone too far. Throckmorton was still there. So, it didn't get to his level because he still would have gone after anything information he had. So it just sounds like a bungled kind of thing that they were doing. Mid-level bureaucrat there just didn't see the significance of it or whatever. But the message they were trying to say is that we wanted to go after it, but our officials at the FDA were not letting us. And then here's the greatest one. It's all because of the American Kratom Association.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's Mac Haddo, and Dean tried to make a big deal of the accounting that I had provided about what happened in 2016. And what happened there was that that we had a outpouring of consumers who were contacting congressional offices, and Dean made it sound like Matt Salmon, then the representative from Arizona, who I recruited to help us, was solely responsible for the collection of signatures for a letter, and that the Dean bets they didn't even know what was in the letter. That's what he said.
Yeah.
You had thousands and thousands of emails and calls going into those congressional offices, and to suggest that people didn't know what it was. When we visited offices, the members knew, because they were hearing from obviously from advocates that were outraged at the possibility of getting it. So for Dean to say, "Oh, well, this was Matt Salmon deceiving the Congress, he just got those 51 signatures." Now, in the first place, there were 25 Democrats and 26 Republicans. And I don't think even someone as good as Matt Salmon would have been able to get 25 Democrats, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is all just sort of fictionalized recounting, trying to reconstitute the way things were. So then they talk about my description of what happened. There were 6,000 phone calls that went into the DEA. I learned that after the scheduling was removed from the public affairs office of DEA, where this guy said to me, "We've never seen anything to equal it. On any scheduling." He said, "We had over 6,000 calls to our office saying that you shouldn't do it." But it was to the press office. They were fielding these calls. And that happened. So you have all of these signatures, and which Dean dismisses as saying that was just Matt Salmon running around getting the signatures, not telling anybody what it was. And which is goofy because people aren't going to sign a letter. They don't know what it is. And then you have the DEA description, but here's the coup de grace. The only reason that this was successfully removed was because Orrin Hatch called the DEA administrator. And I described the circumstances. I was sitting in Hatch's office with a list of senators that I was asking him to call to see if they would sign on to the letter, right? And Hatch was going through, and he was busy, obviously, and I was taking up his time, obviously. And what I was asking him to do was to call senators, and it wasn't like, hey, this is Orrin, I want you to sign on this letter. Orrin would have to say, I have a letter, and here's what I'm doing, and here's why I'm doing it, and I'd like you to look at it, because no senator is just going to say, I'll sign on with you. And Orrin's looking through this list, and I had a long list that I wanted him to call. And he said, why don't I just call the administrator? And so he got his assistant to get the administrator on the phone, the acting minister, Rosenberg, and they had a conversation. And I'm listening to it. I couldn't hear Rosenberg. I could hear Hatch. Hatch explained that, he has been the champion of dietary and botanical supplements for decades at that point, and that the FDA has had a bias against these products for decades, and that was what prompted the passage of the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act. He's explaining this to Rosenberg, and he said, and you've got people out there who are using kratom safely, and the nonsense that the FDA has cooked up is inaccurate, wrong. And by the way, that was proven later by Dr. Joie to conclude that, but that was 2 years later. Hatch was just describing based on what he had observed in his experience with the FDA and their bias against these products. And then he said, I'm going to tell you, if you ban kratom, and he did disclose that Orrin said to him, I am a consumer of kratom, and I'm telling you that it's safe. He said, if you schedule this, then I'm going to rain hell on your head in the context of being able to call him for a congressional hearing. Now, Dean made a big deal of that. Oh, Hatch said he was going to rain hell on his head. When I was the chief of staff at HHS, I fielded dozens of calls every year from irate members of Congress threatening everything under the sun. They were going to pull money. They were going to come and do an investigation. This is just what happens in the process. And I'm sitting on the other end of these tirades by members of Congress, and I react by taking appropriate action. If they're right, we investigate, we make the correction. If they're wrong, we tell them, sorry, do what you're going to do. And this went on and on and on all the time. And as I sit here, I'll bet if we had the ability to look at the number of calls made by a member of Congress, either the House or the Senate, to a bureaucrat that were mad, it would number in the thousands of thousands. And the idea that Dean Francis, and maybe he just doesn't understand the process, would make such a big deal of the fact that Orrin Hatch said to the administrator, if you don't withdraw this scheduling, then I'm going to rain hell on your head, in a congressional hearing to examine why he did or didn't do what he was being asked to do. That's the way it's something about the checks and balances. But he made that out. Oh, it's a nefarious thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to attribute the fact that Dean is just not very sophisticated when it comes to government relations, right? And by the way, his championing this end kratom addiction. Everybody should look at the truth. I don't remember the URL, but there's a website that someone's put up that is absolutely fabulous, that looks at
opentruth.org.
Open Truth. Thank you.
Yes.
And look at the Dean Francis and his son Cameron's story. And I know that they're scrambling to try to cover for this, but it was Dean Francis who said in a press release in December of 2025, when he was preparing for the Virginia legislative session, and he was out talking to local counties in the state of Virginia, telling the story of his son's challenges with various, it was only kratom that did it, by the way. He's the one that said, he absolutely said, oh, the reason that the industry doesn't like his story, it had nothing to do nothing to do with any of these extracts or liquids. What? You look at what the story really is, that in fact it did. And by the way, the fact that he would say that was misleading on its face. He's never corrected it that I know
Right.
of.
Right.
You know that the 911 call that happened just a couple of months later, after he had testified before the legislature and talked to the governor. Well, after the 911 call, 3 weeks later, his son is up there with the governor. And Cameron told me on a LinkedIn exchange I had with him, oh, I told the governor the whole story. Now, I will bet money. I'll bet money that there's no way that's true, that he didn't go in there and say, hey, and here's the truth. Alcohol was a real problem for me, so I tried to use kratom. They flipped that. They say kratom led to alcohol. That's not true.
Yeah.
You look at that open truth thing. There's the documents, the videos are there from his arrest. I mean, he declares to the cops he's an alcoholic. This is craziness for him to say this. But then you look at the journey, and then all of a sudden, it's all the natural leaf stuff suddenly goes away because he's talking about 7-OH. On the 911 call, Dean says, I know all about 7-OH. It's hallucinogenic. But what he reported was Cameron walked into the home, had a fifth of whiskey that was empty, claimed he was not drinking. That's what Cameron said. Had a bottle of whiskey. And his father said there are other empty bottles or other bottles that were found in his car because they took away his keys because they didn't want to drive to kill someone. And he's saying to the 911 operator, oh, this is 7-OH, because he had to keep the story straight, right?
Uh-huh.
This is just really something. And then of course we know now that, I don't know, it's not just a natural kratom leaf, right?
I was gonna say, Cameron, I've read the exchange too, and Cameron's whole argument is he started off with the leaf, then graduated to the extracts, and then graduated to 7-OH. So yes, leaf is to blame. Like what?
Well, and if you look at the opentruth.org,
addiction is to blame.
Yeah, and it's tragic, no question about that. Why this then fuels this kind of effort and crusade by a father who's just trying to, in his view, protect his son, but he's going after the wrong target.
Yeah.
And this is unfortunate. It's like they take the story and we all know this is not Dean and Cameron. We know that addicts lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just a fact of life. And part of the addressing addiction issues is to get over that lie. And they counsel people, well, you can't continue to lie to everyone that's trying to help you about why you're really in this state that you're in. And part of the detox and the treatment is all part of that. And, there's fascinating information about going back to Dean and Cameron that are inconsistent with the claims that Dean is trying to make now with respect to Cameron's experiences. And if someone says they'll pay money to hear the 911 call, it's up on the Open Truth.
Yeah,
it's in that link. It's kind of hard to hear. It's kind of hard to hear because the background noise, but you could definitely make out everything that they're saying. It's insane.
This is a crazy good website. It is. I know when Matthew Davenport first happened is when I first knew
about the site
or whatever. But they have really just kept adding to it, so it's good, real good.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how this comes out in the end, where whatever Dean Cameron ends up doing, because he's now sucking in other people into his crusade that think that what he's saying is true about Cameron's experience. This is all about natural kratom leaf products. Cameron has never explained what other substances that he's involved in. He now acknowledges, previously had not, that he went to Mexico for a detox program that involved the use of a substance that has nothing to do with kratom or 7-OH.
Ibogaine.
So there are people that are saying that he has accessed other products that deal with psychedelic mushrooms and that kind of thing. This isn't natural leaf kratom. And part of this experience is that a father has to understand that your kid may not be giving you the entire truth. We struggled with my oldest son, and it got to the point where I knew that he was not telling me the truth when his lips were moving, and I had to check everything that he was doing, and he had some real struggles, and it impacted our family dramatically, and we had to be aggressive about it, and it's painful, But if I believed everything that kid said to me, if I believed it, I'd be off in La La Land. Right?
That's your adopted son, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even know you had adopted kids. Are all your kids adopted?
Oh no. That was an unusual circumstance that we
Oh,
confirmed early in this was actually my sister's son, and
okay.
and she had for a variety of problems on her own had abandoned him, and we ended up babysitting him for what we thought was a weekend that turned into a year and a half. And as he was growing up, he was calling us mom and dad at that point, and so we made a decision to adopt him, and it not knowing obviously the challenges that would come from that, and but we did our best with him. But again, if we believed everything, and we
Yeah.
had counseling programs, and the counselors told us, don't believe him. He's gonna. It's
Yeah.
just he's gonna.
At the end of the day, all we can do is the best we can do as parents. And, at some point, you just got to, let them go. And you
And
can't believe everything. You can't keep sticking up for them. You got to let them, and I think that's,
Cameron's a 30-year-old adult.
yeah. Yeah.
And at some point it's accountability, and Dean is just, I get it. I get the instinct that a parent has. You want to protect your kid. That's great, but there has to be accuracy, truthfulness, because what they're doing now is misleading people
Yeah.
into thinking that this was just natural leaf kratom, and they're scrambling now to try to explain. Now the facts have come out, and what they're interesting, I saw that one of the responses was, well, that thing is not accurate. Whether or not the opentruth.org is completely 100% accurate, I don't know, but someone needs to explain specifically what's wrong. When you have a body camera footage from a police officer that shows that he was being arrested for a DUI, and it was because of open bottles of alcohol, wasn't a 708 or a kratom product that they found. When you have him confessing that he has an alcohol problem on that body cam footage, when a subsequent arrest was made after he stole things out of a sheet store, I think it was, it was alcohol that was
Yeah.
in there, beef jerky too, I think. And then they have him at his house, and he says, "Yeah, I have a problem. It's alcohol. Nothing about kratom." And then they want to say now in the reconfigured story that it's just kratom. This is just something, and that. Too bad. It's a tragic experience that any family has to go through, but they don't. And it's the same kind of problem we deal with these parents who are saying, my son died of a kratom overdose, and they believe what the medical examiner and coroner says, because there is no one who is blessed by God to have more authority and accuracy than a medical examiner and coroner. And the truth doesn't bear that out.
Well, just like the story you just told about the E. coli. Human error does that. Like, we're not 100%. Nothing's 100%, especially when humans are involved. Stuff happens, and I don't know. It is a sad situation, but we do have to. Everyone should keep an open mind.
So I got 5 minutes left, but if I can, I want to tell you one other story. I was interviewed by, I called the reporter that did a story in Jacksonville, Florida about Patty Wheeler's situation. And she obviously is now touting the fact that she has sold her documentary to some streaming service unnamed that will put it out in October. Okay, so big deal. And they're doing a series of stories on it. And I called the reporter. There were two stories. I called both reporters, and the first reporter was very nice about it, said, glad to get the information, love to update the story if it's appropriate. It was a very good conversation. The second guy, this was a man, he was
Jake?
from the minute, Jake,
Yep.
the minute I talked to him, contentious. In my 50 years in dealing in public policy and having hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of phone calls, reporters, I've never met someone like him.
Wow.
He was nasty, mean. Every word I said, he challenged as though I were lying about everything. And it got so ramped up. I said, tell me how you justify the claim that she's making that her son consumed huge amounts, massive amounts of metrogenine, of a kratom product, immediately prior to his death. When on the talk screen, it says that the amount of metrogenine, while present, was not quantifiable. I said, that does not justify that claim. And he said, what are you talking about? He said, I have the talk screen. He said, none of the substances are quantified in the talk screen. Now that's surprising.
What?
I said, that isn't possible. I said, I have a document that we obtained through, and I've forgotten what Texas calls it, but it's a FOIA, a request for information. And we have it from the medical examiner. And I have a talk screen that in fact quantifies the substances that were present in his blood. And kratom was not even quantifiable, detected positive, but not quantifiable. He goes, no. He said, here, and I was driving at the time, so I didn't have the document in front of me. He said, I'll give you the record number and you tell me if it's the same document. So when I got to the point I could pull over and pull it up on my computer, it was the same record number, right? So I sent him the entire document that I got from which includes the talk screen. And he texted me back. He obviously showed it to Patty. And do you know what Patty said? He forged it. He forged it.
Oh no!
Yeah, I got it on a text message. I mean, unbelievable. I'll tell you the exact word that he used. It wasn't forged.
The reason why I said Jake is because some us kratom advocates went over to his ex account and was correcting him in the comments. And this is my first run in with Patty. I put your video that you did on in kratom misinformation, your autopsies video, and under that she put shaking my head. That's my first run in with Patty. And I keep posting everywhere. And when I title my video, I will say, tell the truth, Patty.
Yeah, and this is really surprising that it would get to this point where she would now claim that I have doctored this document. And and now I said to Jake, I said, I came back, so how do you reconcile this? And nothing, so
just crickets on Jake's end, huh?
Pretty interesting. So we're going to do a couple things. First, we're going to refile a FOIA, and I want to see, because if she has a document that says that nothing was quantified, I want to see where that is, because we didn't get it. And while I was looking at the document, I found an interesting time gap. When they did the autopsy, the analyst from the medical examiner's office says in there that it was a significant amount of, whatever the right word is, a significant amount of metrogenine that was found that caused the death or contributed to the death. Okay. Well, the date of that autopsy analysis was whatever the date was, and then 2 weeks later you get the talk screen. So what data did she have when she was doing the analysis if she didn't have the talk screen? How could she have concluded that there was a massive amount of metrogenine? I want to see that document and who did it. But it was their lab that did the actual analysis, and it was dated days later. So what did she have available other than talking to the mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's an interesting question we need to find out along the way. Now, there are lots of problems that come up, and this is part of the issue with other deaths, and it may be accountable here. Depending on when they test, there can be a redistribution that occurs, and it will significantly elevate the levels. So of anything, including kratom, metrogenine.
It will elevate, not lower it. It'll elevate it.
It depends on where you draw the blood, right? In order to get the gold standard, it's femoral blood. But then if you want an accurate analysis of the substances, you take it in another location. But because of redistribution, time is critical. And we've seen some autopsies where they do a draw that's 2 weeks after the death, and they get this amount of metrogenine claimed to be there. That redistribution becomes very important. So we want accurate information, and as much as we find people that revere these coroners and medical examiners, I revere the truth more than that. So I think we're going to have an interesting discussion when we go into documents with the medical examiner in Texas to see exactly what in the world were they looking at that allowed them to say that conclude that there was all this metrogenine when they didn't even have the tox screen at the time, at least the way the analysis is dated. So we'll see how that works out. But I've got to run, but I'll tell you guys that I thank you for this opportunity. Lots more to discuss, I think, in the coming weeks. We'll see, obviously, what's happening along the way. Just a plug for our event in September. We want people to obviously participate in that. We got some exciting stuff that we're planning for that, and we're looking forward to everyone being there that's able to attend. So thank you very much for all.
Thank you for giving us your time.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know what? We are loud and proud Mac Daddy.
Yeah.
Mac Daddy. I'm not gonna say lovers, but
Well,
we're
and
Mac.
there's been a lot of comments coming up to thank you for doing
Yeah.
everything. So we all do appreciate you, Mac. I know it's not easy.
Yeah, it's very kind, everybody. But this, you always hear this word. Well, this is a team effort. This was a movement that continues and now has to be re-energized in order to fight back against this 7-OH battle. And this will pass. We'll have other challenges going forward, but this one is significant, and I think that it will expose exactly what happened, because the 7-OH manufacturers will abandon these people in a flat hurry after it's banned, and they're going to be left alone. And then they're going to wonder, well, where's our great advocacy team, right? So
Yep.
And I'm telling you, you went to the 7-OH dark side. Don't think you coming back here and I'm going to accept you with open arms. That's not going to happen. Heck no. So yeah, this is a movement, not a moment.
Yep.
So
yeah, absolutely right. Well, thanks. I'll talk to you guys again next week.
Bye, Mac.
Bye,
Enjoy
Mac.
your day.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Well, you know what? I know that lady in Ohio, she sued the state.
she sued the medical examiners. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe something like that, if you really had somebody to investigate stuff like that.
But what I think is this is the with Wheeler's case, this is another classic case of that comment. This is another classic case of kratom was found in the area.
Yeah.
Kratom was found in the trash can, which supposedly her son was taking the extracts. Kratom was found in the area. Finding kratom on scene does not equate the cause of death. It's like, it's a classic case of that. We see that a lot. Kratom was found on the nightstand. Kratom was found on the kitchen counter.
Or just somebody saying, oh, yeah, they took kratom.
Yeah. Or just a family member saying that. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, thank everybody for being here. We're glad that everybody comes here Saturday to learn the real truth about what's going on. And,
yeah,
it's...
You hear it right from the horse's mouth.
Right, yeah.
It's why we started.
And it's good to have Matt come on and, put the record straight and tell us what's going on every week instead of
waiting a month.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for the monthly webinar. So that's why it's like, what? We should do a recap with Mac. I feel like this is therapy for him, honestly, because he is getting hit at all different angles. And it's like, us advocates get hit as well, but nothing like Mac. Mac is just targeted
from all over the place too.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen, he's like a crazy magnet.
Yeah. And then it's like, it's like, because Mac wants to set the record straight about what certain kratom advocates are doing. Now all of a sudden he's the big bad wolf. Now all of a sudden Mac is the one spreading disinformation, or the AKA spreading disinformation. Like,
I think a lot of times,
Elixir Lounge, what's up? Sorry.
Where's this at? Where's
think
Elixir
they're-
Lounge?
That's a Chris.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about friggin' whatever the name of his brand is. It starts with an N?
New Wave.
New Wave. I knew it started with an N. I went completely blank at that. So
No, he
that's
also
what I was
has a.
thinking.
He's also in the coffee space as well. That would be
Yeah,
so.
Mac is a hero, dude. I mean, that dude has been through hell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, heck, I just learned something new.
That's
Well, I mean,
what.
I knew you had a kava bar. I just didn't know. That
The
was
other
a-
thing I meant to tell or ask Mac about was.
I'm glad you
um,
did too, Robin. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you're
Yes,
here today.
Robin. Thank you. I'm glad. You know what? I know. Yeah. I don't even want to say nothing. But your message to me and my message to you. Yeah, we're on the same wavelength.
No, this
Same
is
wavelength.
Chris Jepson. There's two good Chris's.
Yeah. There's a lot of Chris's.
There's two. Well, there is a lot of Chris's. Yeah.
A lot of Chris's.
That's like a cool guy's name.
You got Christopher from Christopher's Organics Botanical. We're not sponsoring, guys. We're not sponsoring.
No.
Then we have Chris from Happy Hippo. Then we got Chris from New Wave. Oh man, Chris. No, I want to be compensated for my time.
Yeah, Christopher is cool. That's what I'm saying. Like all the cool guys' names are Chris. Or
Yes, Chad. I
yeah.
know. I see you commenting, and you know what? Great. I love your comments.
I'm always like, I'll send Misty a screenshot. I'm like, did you see this?
I love your comments on X, on TikTok, on Reddit. You are coming through with fire. I love it. No, that's why I said that, Chris. I want to be compensated for my time.
One day we'll get to.
Yeah, Abram. That's Abram. Yeah, we were just talking about all the Chris's. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so yeah, if you guys September 13th is the rally, the 10-year anniversary rally in DC. So you guys need to get out there. It's more like veterans focused and law enforcement focused, but I'm going.
I think that as far as the Pennsylvania coroner, goodness gracious.
Oh yeah. If Mac would have been able to stay with us longer, that would have been my next question, asking him if he saw that, because that was brutal to sit there and watch yesterday. The amount of crap the Crypt Keeper was spewing.
And you know what? I don't know how Pennsylvania is, but isn't it? I didn't know this until I started advocating, but some coroners are elected and they actually aren't, hired, I guess. I wonder if that's the case there.
I don't know either, but I do know, some coroners are elected. When we did our ballots, there was a coroner on there, but nobody's running against them, so. Isn't there a Chicago rally or event with Dr. Heidi and Lori? Yeah, they're going to the National Conference of State Legislatures coming up pretty soon.
Coming up week.
Yeah, that right there is where pretty much all the legislators go to learn stuff. I've never been to one, so I think that's out of my wheelhouse because I don't know. Because I got colored hair, maybe.
I did see. I heard about that, Karen. Yeah, I heard about that. Some dude touting, giving drugs to his kids or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think it's to some, like, my 12 and 9-year-old daughters that helps their behavioral. And I'm like, I bet it does. It knocks them on their, that, like, dude.
What was it? 7 and MGM, right?
Yeah.
Giving it to their 12-year-old and 8-year-old something.
Colonel Sanders.
He's a Crypt Keeper.
Who had a show on Investigational Discovery?
The coroner did? The Philadelphia coroner, or the Pennsylvania? I call freaking Pennsylvania Philadelphia. I need to stop doing that.
Monday. So you're going to be in Chicago on Monday, Heidi. I feel like that's tomorrow, but it's not.
I will be, Connie, yes. I will be crowdfunding. I will be crowdfunding.
Yeah.
I
I'm going
only,
to.
yeah, I only pick like certain of it. I hate asking for money.
I know.
I
But
do.
I'm also
do.
going to help because, money's. I'm hoping to go if we can crowdfund to get there.
Yeah, because I'll only ask for like certain events or something, and it's like, but I have to put my pride to the side to do that because I
Well,
want
and
other
it's for
advocates to
everybody.
go.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's a completely different thing when you're asking for everyone,
Yeah, I want other advocates who are willing and able to go that confirm that they're going to go, and I'll be able to help them out.
Wow, so he was on.
Was he?
I mean, he still reminds me of my dad for some reason, just the way he carries himself. Is it Secrets of the Morgue Show? I watch that channel all the time.
I used to watch that channel.
You know what I think happened? I think he did not know anything about Kratom really, and that the other dude, the bald dude,
The sheriff.
like he's the one that did all the researching and all that, and the coroner just didn't do anything but touch base, maybe. Because I mean, you could tell him reading the papers he was not into it or whatever. And as far as his intern, I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, because he didn't go into any detail about the intern.
Yeah.
Was it 7OH? When did the intern die?
Yeah, he said it was like a long time ago. From what I remember, like a long time ago, like 2016 or something like that, maybe even before then. And he said he was getting it online or something. I don't know. That's just what the dude said. Yeah, the sheriff was way more educated.
Yeah. Yeah. And he definitely lied about the
lied. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that he was under the impression that AK was not advocating at all for 7OH.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was just
it was a lot of conflating and not differentiating, and it was just so bizarre. It was so bizarre. And first of all, who put him up to it? I want to know that.
That script was pretty tight to a lot of things we've heard in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a walking, talking embarrassment.
Yeah, Keith.
Really?
Did he? Now we're gonna maybe we need to go rewatch it. The Coroner, I Speak for the Dead TV show. Is that what he was on? I'm Googling.
Wow. And Dave, if you're still watching,
oh my God, it's him.
It is?
Yes.
Hold on, let me pull this up.
It's him.
I Speak for the Dead.
Yeah, The Coroner, I Speak for the Dead. It was in 2016. You know what? And when I was watching the press conference, he kept holding up that little packet of a Kratom testing kit. And I don't know, to me, it kind of looked like it was like product placement. Like it was like a little infomercial type.
Let me share my screen real quick so y'all can see what this dude looks like on here.
Yeah.
Look at him.
It's him.
Like he looks like he did say he was a professor. Wowza. Maybe that's why he's all over the place on like Facebook and stuff. He got a good IMDb review. So look at that guy.
But he didn't get he didn't get it right.
No.
So
that's crazy. I would have never known that unless y'all told me.
Mike said it too. The intern had other drugs in the system. We heard it clear as day. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah, Chad, huh? I don't know who runs opentruth.org. Maybe they need to get up on this too.
Yeah. Whoever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Go investigate this celebrity coroner.
Wow. Wow. Huh.
Learn something new every day because I
It
wouldn't
was
have-
pretty early though. I'll be honest.
Oh
like,
yeah.
you know,
Oh yeah.
I was, barely making it.
Yeah. I rolled out of bed super early. I was still in my nightgown.
It's summer, like the kids are out of school, so we are, I don't sleep in, or I do sleep in as often as I can in the summer.
Yeah. Plus, we have to deal with all these hearings, and it's like it really wears us out, like
Yeah.
mentally and emotionally. It really wears us out. We need more people testifying. Chad, you should be up in there testifying with us too. You make
He
time for
doesn't
that.
have a medical degree.
Really?
That's insane to me. Yeah, this Open Truth is so good. Anybody that hasn't seen it, honestly, man, Mike's saying that he'd pay money to hear the 911 call. I've listened to it. Let me tell you, it is hard to listen to, but it's clear as day what's going on. It's like,
Do you want to pull it up and play it real quick?
That's what I was thinking. I've got Open Truth up.
Y'all want to listen to the 911 call? It's kind of hard. It really is. It's got a lot of background noise, but you can hear what he's saying.
Let me bring it up.
Okay.
Let me just share my screen here.
I think so too, Dr. Heidi. Trying to restart it. Yep. Connie, I will message you on LinkedIn on who you need to email if you want to be part of our advocacy blast.
Yeah.
Local
Anybody that wants to get involved.
Wait, don't we have the ticker? Let me see. Do we still have Laura's ticker up here? No, I think I took it down. Oh no, it's up there. Duh, Misty.
Yeah, take the Open Truth one down. Okay, here we go. Hold on, let me put that. Okay. Oh, I don't have it up yet. Oh, let me find it. But yeah, look at all this stuff, guys. It's just so much stuff. You got toxicology organizations. Oh, here we go. Dean. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
What is that?
That right there was that's the body cam right there.
Oh, it's only 12 seconds?
And so
Okay, let's watch this real quick.
This is on a separate occasion.
And so I've taken kind of desperate measures to kind of satisfy the alcoholism, I guess.
Okay, so you have an alcohol problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw the whole body cam
Me too.
thing.
That was when he got caught for stealing alcohol from
and beef jerky
from a gas station or something like that. Couple times.
So we got the hit and run, larceny, open container, failure to apply. Okay, here we go. Wait. The audio records evidence. Where is it? Oh, here it is.
Does he have it broken up in chunks?
He kept going back into the vape shops. They were like, hey, here's some more. And then eventually, over to the MIT or whatever other bottle, stuff that's in a bottle.
Huh. Hold on.
It goes into a vape shop to get whatever. I don't know. Not a good decision.
This is him talking. I know that. Hold on. If not, I think I have the thing he saved.
Let me go on the link.
Tap to any jump in the recording.
I believe it's 7:08,
Okay.
and in
Oh, this
addition
is
to
the whole
drinking some
thing.
alcohol.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
39 seconds, April 1, 2026.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
16112 Scottwood Road.
Repeat that address for verification.
16112 Scottwood Road.
Your phone number you're calling me from?
Pardon me?
Your name? Your name, exactly what's going on?
We have a 30-year-old son that took something earlier. I believe it's 7:08, and in addition to drinking some alcohol, and he is like losing his mind. He's psychotic. He's like, and I don't know what else to do.
Okay. Okay. You said your son drank, and what did he take? What kind of...
I believe he took 708. It's a substance you can buy at a vape shop, and unfortunately, it is known to create psychosis. And he is, at this moment, a serious danger in our house. And I don't know what else to do but to call you.
Okay, we're gonna put a call in for service and get him some help out there. What is he doing? And how is he acting?
He is in a rage. He can't move his car, so I took the keys. But if he drove right now, he could kill somebody. He's in a rage. He's not hurting us, but he's like, I don't know what else to expect.
All right, I'll ask you a series of questions to make sure we get the right response. How old is your son?
30.
Okay. Is he awake?
Yes.
Okay, is he breathing?
Yes.
Is he violent?
I'm concerned he could be. He is not at this moment.
Okay. Is he changing color?
No.
Okay. Is he responding normally? Is he completely alert?
He's not responding normally. He is literally like hallucinating. He literally walked into our house with a whole bottle of whiskey that he had just drank. I found 2 more, and we're like, "What are you doing? You're drinking." "No, I'm not." "No, I'm not." I mean, like, we just gone through, like, he doesn't believe he's been drinking. The whole thing's like insane.
Okay. All right. Let me finish. Is he breathing normally?
Yes.
Hold on 1 second. Do you know when he took the vape, the 708s, and the drinking
I'm gonna guess within the last 2 hours. Partly it's because a friend of his called me and just got off the phone with him and said something's wrong. Like he's messed up. He can't finish his sentence. And he walks in our door. He looks like a disaster. And then I'm like, "What are you doing? What's wrong?" "I'm not drinking." And he's got alcohol all over him.
Okay.
I mean, the whole thing was bizarre. He's in a rage, and he wanted to take his vehicle, and he can't. Now he's just...
Okay.
Like, I don't know.
Is there any Narcan available?
No.
Okay. All right. So I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next. Reassure him the help is on the way. From now on, don't let him have anything to eat or drink if that is possible. It might make him sick or cause further problems. Just let him rest in a most comfortable position and wait for help to arrive.
Just so you know, he doesn't want any help. Right now, he's going to resist any help.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do at that point is going to try to avoid any contact with him. Tell me immediately if he leaves the scene or passes out. Where is he currently at?
I'm right now in our garage, but I
have a note. Did he drive to your location or?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any weapons in the house or on itself?
No.
Does anybody in the residence or him have any military, law enforcement, or specialized training?
No.
I'm going to stay on the phone with you until we get some officers out there and a rescue squad. We're going to go ahead and take a look at your son and go further from there. Has this ever happened before?
No.
Okay. Okay. Just keep me posted on what he's talking. I'm assuming that's his mother he's talking to in the background.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he knows you're coming, he just walked out and he's just, right now he's just on foot. I don't know where he's going to go.
Okay. I'll let you know when they mark in the area. You just let me know about him. We just want to make sure we obviously that I'll put himself in danger, keep eyes on him, keep him safe, or if he leaves, to go ahead and we can update the units that are going to be responding out there, okay?
Okay. It's so healthy, that's all.
Sir, is he white, black, Hispanic?
Yes, white.
And what's he wearing?
Black t-shirt, pink shorts. They're sending the paramedics. That's fine. If you're tired, calm down. You cannot drive a vehicle to a car. It's not, another car, you're going to work 3 hours, normal. You just got home tonight. You just got home. No, you were down here. I don't know how to say it's called psychosis. I know. It is, though. I just need everybody to know that's what's happening. It took 7 or 8. His body can't take it. His body can't because he's clean. And so what happens is very capable of creating psychosis. It happens very normally. It's not like he built up to it. The doctor warned us, if you take any, you are putting yourself at huge danger. I'm not in psychosis at all. Oh my God. Okay. I'm not in psychosis. Show us by getting calm. Okay. Maybe a camera and waxing on it. Okay. It's better just to be strict and relax. No. They're going to try to take your blood pressure. They're going to check on you. That's irrational. If you leave, but that has to be clear. I don't understand the thing. Okay, then people will find a way, but do you have a friend that you could call to come pick you up? If you do that, then we can do that. I have a friend right now. Yeah. No. If you can tell me how I pick you up. I would be illegal if he did. Because it's illegal. Let me tell you what happened. You called Jack. It made no sense at all. He called me in and said, Karen can't finish the sentence, there's something wrong. I looked in your vehicle, I found an entire bottle of Southern Comfort drink. Yep. And then you walked in here with a bottle of whiskey in your hand and put it on the refrigerator. And then you said, that's not mine, which is ridiculous. You can have someone help get you up. Just call them. That's the opposite. It's called psychosis. Just take your blood pressure. Tell me okay.
Stand by the front door to get ready to turn on your street.
Okay.
Just let me know when you see the officers, and when I get out of the vehicle, I can let you go, okay?
Okay. You took a tablet of 7 weeks. Okay. Yeah, they're here. I don't know what to expect. I really have no idea what to expect from me. Well, I'm going to try to run off or what, but...
Well, hopefully, like I said, it sounds like he's talking now. It sounds like it's calmed down a little bit. The officers are there just to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. The rescue squad is still responding. They're going to take take a look at him, and if he needs to go to the hospital, they'll advise that. Just because they respond, that doesn't necessarily mean he needs to go. You can make that determination once they get on scene, but the officers are there for everybody's safety, okay?
Yeah. But yeah, I know a lot about 708s, unfortunately, and he's in a complete state of psychosis. It's like, and I don't know, this has not happened to him before. I just know how this works, and that's why I have no idea what to expect.
Yes, sir. And this is what the Rescue Squad, once they get on scene, you believe that your son did take that pill,
Sure.
and they can go further from there, okay?
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did try to take the background. We tried to mess around with it because it was real bad. Yeah, dude. Extreme. I feel horrible for the guy. I mean, some people just have issues and they go through bad times in their life, and to bring it into the public eye like he's done is just. I mean, it's sad. It's just sad all around.
Yeah, and I truly feel so bad for Cameron. I really do. And it's like I can see the control that Dean has over him. And I've said this before, Dean is the substance problem to Cameron. I'm not going to apologize for that.
Yeah,
I've dealt with a family member just like that.
I've dealt
know?
with people like that. Yeah.
And it's like,
But yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff on everything. Well, not everything, but a lot. The people that are all the anti people that have really been vocal, the different laws that, ban laws that have been, and what's behind that. There's some toxicology reports.
I can't believe Patty Wheeler saying that Mac forged it.
But I mean, it tells about the organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dean Francis is behind the Kratom addiction, and they're really vocal. I mean, and trying to get Kratom banned.
Yeah. It should be end alcohol addiction,
Yeah,
not end kratom addiction.
yeah. If anybody hadn't checked this website out, it's really good. Like, really good. Yeah, I'm sorry about the background noise though.
Yeah, we tried to clean it up as well. And when we put it in Opus Clips, it started creating its own language.
Like the AI was like inputting words into it.
Yeah,
and it
in a
sounded
different language.
creepo.
In
Like this one time, it was like a freaking demon voice came in.
Yes.
Like, can you hear me? I don't know. It was creepy. I was like freaking out, like, Misty.
It was so weird. And all we did was remove the background noise. That's the only thing we did different in the Opus Clip was, remove the background noise. Just started. It was so weird. So weird.
But, for him, and this happened, like, this call right there happened days.
April.
Yeah, April the 1st, like, days before he went to talk to the Virginia governor.
Or was it after? After he went and
After.
talked to the Virginia governor.
Like,
Yeah.
days after. So it's like, I mean, again, like, people, I don't like people that don't tell the whole truth. And
That's why I call him Dishonest Dean.
yeah, I mean,
Man up, dude. I'll respect you if you man up and be like, okay, my bad.
yeah,
I'd
much rather somebody just admit to their wrongdoings than just keep on and double down on it.
Mm-hmm.
And
then he went on his little rampage in Virginia, and now in Virginia, it's required to put opioid-like withdrawals on the packaging. Like, I'm not even on any kratom right now. I normally don't take it Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I'm not going through any withdrawals.
yeah,
Opioid-like withdrawals, my ass. I am a pro at what opioid-like withdrawals were. I was For 11 years straight, I was in withdrawal every single month because I ran out of my
Yeah.
pills early. Every single month.
Yeah, been there. Oh, I don't miss those days. But yeah, that's it. I was like, wow. So everything that I don't know, and for him to just, I'm an expert at 7OH. I know all about it. You know, for him to keep on pushing the whole, you're in psychosis. And Cameron's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, he's just trying. You know how people do, like narcissist people. They say something over and over again so that you think it's
True.
really true, and
Yeah.
you know that's like playing head games and stuff. But yeah, I was surprised by the 911 call, and then the body cam footage. That was like, I feel really bad for him on that one.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, I don't know. Hopefully he gets his life together, and I feel like maybe that should, you know, if it were me, I would want to focus on that instead of focusing on some rampage against.
Apparently, I mean, through the LinkedIn interaction I had with Cameron, like, he's actually following me on LinkedIn, you know, and I didn't follow back. I'm not going to follow you back, buddy. You know, although I would like to, you know, Cameron, if you're watching this, I would like to have you on here. I would like to talk to you, you know. But yeah, the interaction I had between him, I mean, he says he does, but I don't know. It's just, there's so many gaps in it.
It reminds me of somebody that I used to know. Like, their mom was an enabler, but also at the same time, I mean, it reminds me, it has a lot of reminisces me from back in the, and I just feel, I know that, you know, I don't know. I'm not trying to talk shit about anybody's family because, dude, I know I don't have the greatest. But like I said, at the end of the day, all we can do is do the best we can. And, you know, I would never take my family issues like that into the public eye.
Right.
I feel like it would be more fuel for the fire.
Yeah, I wonder if they argue a lot behind the scenes about that.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you, Dad?
I would.
You didn't even give me time to heal so that I could tell my story when I was ready.
I mean, that's just like, I don't know. It's not cool.
That's just like, you know, because I've been asked before, you know, if my kids, if you know, because my kids are adults, you know, they're 27, 25, and 21. And I've been asked before, like, can we interview them about, you know, their experience with you and your active addiction and all that stuff. And it's like, I've brought the idea up to them, but it's like, that's not something I want to force.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
they'll talk about it when they are ready to talk about it.
That's kind of like what, I can't remember where it was, but remember that guy got his kid up there on the stand to like ask about banning kratom? Like, and I'm like, that was
That
obviously
councilman
forced.
dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh
In
my,
New Hampshire?
yeah. And he's like, oh, he's here to participate and be involved. And it's like, I don't know. You just shouldn't
Yeah, I
implant
remember
things
that.
like that. And you shouldn't force your kids. That'd be like if I was like, you know, y'all need to come with me to the legislative hearings and tell them, you know, this, and this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tracy, are you going to the rally, the September 13th rally? Sorry if you guys hear my TV. My daughter just got home.
Wow. Better than that phone call. That 911 call. That was rough. Anyway, I guess we're gonna call it quits. I just Milo Kitty asked about if there's a plan for Kentucky yet. You know, I don't know. Anybody that has an election year in y'all states, I would say the best thing to do is, you know, hit up your local representatives that you have to vote for and ask them how they feel about it, if they're open for regulation,
Mm-hmm.
and vote for the right one. Look into it.
I mean, I do know that, you know, the banning kratom itself was put off until July 1st of 2027.
Yeah.
But that way it gives the AKA and the advocates time for an actual legislation hearing.
Yeah.
So,
But my thing, like here in Tennessee, it'd be silly to reach out or, get a plan in action and then come. I guess, when do they get to put in office? Like
I
if
don't
the
know.
election, I don't either. Maybe it's November? I don't know why I'm thinking November. But it'd be silly to, it'd be all shaken up.
Bring your kid, Tracy. Bring your kid. I've seen other people say that they wouldn't be able to like get daycare or something like that. I'm like, bring them. Bring the kids.
First week. Oh my God, is it y'all's first week back at school already? I feel Keith, man. I got mine's coming. I'm so sad like this time of year because I love just having the kids home.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That one lady in Tennessee, she had a little one. I'm like, bring her.
Mm-hmm.
We can all take turns, But I mean, depending on how old your kid is too, I would want to take a 2-year-old to Washington. 10th of September. Oh, first week of school for the rally. You'll be back at the rally. Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Man, I wish we started school in September. That'd be great. All right, well, I guess we're gonna get off here, but yeah, stay tuned for anything that we might have coming up later on in the week.
Yeah. We just we'll do random lives. Saturdays have been pretty much steady,
Yeah.
unless Mac isn't available. But like yesterday, we did a random live with John Shinholzer and Dr. Aaron Berthold. So if y'all haven't watched that, go check that out. It
That was
pretty
really
pretty
fun.
freaking cool.
She's
So
really smart.
I don't know if Aaron, if you're watching this or not, but we need to get you back on here because I still got a ton more questions.
Yeah.
We'll do a question and answer session.
I bet she does, Tracy. She knows more about the kratom than any 10-year-old. Did you see that? I love Jordan's videos. Like
Yeah.
I just love his kids and his wife. Like, but I think it was Hudson. He was like, yeah, it's a plant from a tree.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's so cute. Like,
Yeah.
I just love it. I love it. But yeah. All right. Well, you're at the pool. Nice.
Much love, Keith. Enjoy.
Enjoy.
But yeah, so like I said, we just do random things. Sometimes we'll stream a hearing. That's why it's just it's just better to what is it? Hit the notification thingy.
Oh yeah,
on YouTube.
Hit that notification bell. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'm always messing with my kids when I hear their YouTubers say that.
I know. Yeah, because we just always do random things. So
yeah, Marissa hears all this. Marissa.
That's his wife.
Her name right. Well, yeah, I was supposed to say Marissa. Have fun at the pool with your man, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm saying her name right.
It is. You're saying it right. Okay.
Ooh.
Well, everybody have a great Saturday.
Yeah, thanks for coming, and we'll see y'all next Saturday, if not sooner. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Everybody have a good rest of y'all's weekend, too.
Yep. Hit that ding dong bell.